Hey, just down below the video, if you click like, that'll make sure that YouTube shows this video to more people. Thanks. Around the ABSN world in 80 days. It's an ABSN side quest. Pinku, Sam, and Pivot invite you on a trip around the world to work out in 148 different locations over the next 80 days. You'll have to check out this great map that Pivot found here in Excel. Look at this. We're starting at the international date line, working our way from west to east. There's a lot of places out here that you can't work out. Samoa, the Cook Islands. The first place, west to east, is in Tahiti. And then the second place in Aotearoa. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to work out in every possible location in Supernatural? And so we have this map showing every single place. So if you do those two, and then the next place that you'll go is in Alaska, and then here in British Columbia, Wedgemount Lake, and we'll let these continue to draw, and you see that we start to work up here in the Pacific Northwest and some California. You'll eventually hit Easter Island, although it's funny, you get through most of California before you get to Easter Island, and just continue working your way around the world. In this map, since we're heading west to east, the very last location that you're going to get to are all of those beautiful locations they have there in New Zealand, finishing up with the final one at Aurora Point, New Zealand. All right, sounds exciting, right? So how do you play? If you're comfortable with Excel, this Excel workbook, Around the ABSN World in 80 Days, will walk you right through it. Start here on the checklist worksheet. Here's a list of all 148 places in order from west to east. It's the name of the place in Supernatural, and in case you're using the Airtable, sometimes the name in Airtable is an old name. The number of choices you'll have for the workout, and then the day number. We're envisioning 2 locations a day and 1 on Sunday. So this might be how it works out for you. If you're following the itinerary, if you start on January 15th, these will be the dates when you'll get to those locations. All right, so first up for us is Tahiti. Go onto the Preferences page. Here on the Preferences page, it'll always remind you of what the next stop is and then where you'll be going after that. When I actually tested this out, I found I wanted to do more than 2 locations, so it actually down here shows you the next 5, so you can plan out the day and maybe the next day. We'll come here to this drop-down, the blue drop-down in cell F3, and you can just simply search for Tahiti. And you should see over here that there are 20 choices. Now it's possible, if you don't have the latest version of Excel, that you're going to get a name error here, and that's okay. I'll show you how to get around that later in the video. All right, so 20 choices, but let's face it, everyone has their preferences. Are you a boxing fan or a flow fan? Do you prefer medium? Do you prefer high? So using these slicers over here, you can choose which items you want to work out with. For example, if you're interested in just medium, well, that's simple. You can choose medium, and now we're limited to those items. Over here, I found that it's really good to choose first track.
Hey, Supernatural fam,
whichever location is the location for the first track will also be used during the warm-up. So rather than just click skip warm-up, gives you a chance to just take it all in, do a 360 turn, and admire the beauty that the Supernatural creative team has captured for us. Now, there's a couple of things with slicers that are a little unusual. To choose 2 items, you can either use the control key, so there's medium and high, or you can use this icon, which is called multi-select. Normally, a click will select just a single item. If you turn on the multi-select, though, you can select 2 items, like that. Although it's strange, once the multi-select is on, then things don't work like the way you think it should work. Like when I click on high to choose high, it actually turns it off. So it might be one of those things where it's better just to use the control key. My goal is high flow first track. That's what I'm looking for all the time. All right, so we have exactly 1 choice. This will be the one that I do. Be careful, always make a note of the song. You know, there's the situation at Supernatural where they license a song for a couple of years, and then when that license expires, they need to take the song out of the workout. And that information isn't always updated in the database. So you'll want, in the Explore tab on your phone, find, you have everything you need. The type is Flo, the level is high, the coach is Coach Mark. Scroll back to 523, but then click on the workout to make sure that that song is still there. We'd hate to have you do a whole workout and discover that the song that took you to Tahiti wasn't included. Oh, hey, let me interrupt. This is Bill from the future. After I got about 20 locations in, I realized that it is best to find all the locations that you're going to do for the day and then add them in the phone. So I've started doing this. I select the one that I'm going to do for Tahiti, and then I copy or Control C, and then come back to the checklist. And over here on the right, I added a bunch of columns to the Excel file. You have to be very careful here. It's not a paste. You have to open the paste dropdown and choose paste values, or right click and choose the second option for paste values. And then as you go, you can do 5 or 10 or however many you want to do, and then go through and add them to your list in the app. It just seems to work better. All right, put on the VR headset, do the workout. Then you come back to the checklist and you mark the date complete. So I choose the cell for Tahiti, and a great tip, Control semicolon, puts in today's date. And then when you go to the preferences, it'll show you that next up is this location in Aotearoa. Now, we'll use the drop down. We can search for any part of that, Motu. And what's beautiful is they remember that you're looking for high flow, and there's now 5 choices. You can kind of look over here and get a feel for what type of music might be in each one. Okay, now, here's a gotcha. In this case, in Aotearoa, there were a total of 94 places that we could work out. But there's some locations that are much newer. Like here, there's only 5. And there's a location in China where there's only 1. So if you're looking for a high flow and there's only 1 choice, there's a good chance that it just won't be there. This orange message up here, not enough workouts to match the preferences, showing all, is an indicator that based on the workouts available, none of them match your preferences, and they're going to show you all of them. So it's not a bug. We have to give you something to choose from, and so we'll show you all of the locations that are available. Another interruption, this one from Bill 2 weeks in the future. This was so much fun at first, coming in here and choosing which workout to do. But about 40 days in, it's not so much fun anymore. Just find me a place that has that location that's a high flow. So I wrote a macro that went through every location and chose the most recent high flow if there was one. And then I manually went through the ones that didn't have a high flow and chose whatever would be closest. And I did that for 6 different scenarios. My recommendation to you is to download the Excel file that matches your preferred. And that way you have 148 to start with. And yes, for the first couple of weeks you can go choose and override my choices. But when you get to the point where I just want something that's going to match, then the rest of them will be filled out. And just some stats. The macro did a really good job for flow. If you're looking for high flow, 84% of the time, it's what you want. Another 8% of medium flow, 5% low flows, and only 3% boxing. Medium flow almost as good, 82% as a match. Low flow, 80% as a match. Boxing, a little bit tougher. Boxing is newer, less workouts. High boxing, I managed to get 73% from the macro, another 13% medium boxing, and only 9% flow. When you get down to low boxing, though, only 68%. You're going to have to go up to medium for 19% and do a few flows along the way. Again, you can override my choices for any of these. It just gives you a great starting place. Now, if you're not comfortable with Excel, well, then you can use the Airtable if you prefer that. Or there's 6 pre-built itineraries. Just download the PDF for whichever type of workout you prefer. The PDF is really comprehensive. There's 1 page for every day, so usually 2 workouts a day. Tells you where you're going and then how to find it in the app. Flow, Low, Dwana on 616, that's the workout name. There's a note here that will warn you if it's not track 1. It'll also warn you if it is track 1, but it's one of the old track 1s that's a warm-up, so you get 0 points for that. And there's even places for you to write in the date that you completed it, how many points you earned in that song, and any comments about the location. Another option is you love Excel, but unfortunately, your work hasn't upgraded to Microsoft 365 and you're getting the pound name error here. It's very easy to work around that in just a few steps. Right-click down here on any sheet tab and go to Unhide, and unhide the sheet called Data. So there's currently a filter applied to column P, which is Location Match. On the Data tab, after choosing a new location on Preferences, you can simply reapply the filter, and you'll find all of the things for Crater Lake, Oregon in this case. And then, if you would like, apply a second filter in column T to get where all match is equal to 1. And that should get me just the high flows for Crater Lake. Again, if you choose a location that all match has no 1s, then you're going to have to clear this filter and just choose from the few locations that are available for those new locations. Look, I think this is going to be a great journey. I'm going to personally blame this on Pivot. My Floof, he's the one who had the idea. Wouldn't it be cool to go in this around the world and visit all the locations? When I mentioned this idea on the Facebook group, Roxanne was like, oh, hey, we already got this quest in the works, and invited me in. Thanks to Rox and Karen for the great concepts. It's just amazing everything they do at ABSN. Suat for the database skills, Janine and Cam for keeping the Airtable up to date. And thanks to my friend, the legendary Nancy Faust from the Chicago White Sox for our great theme song, and really to the Supernatural Design team for these amazing environments that they give us. Have a great journey. Did I make that client deadline? Oh, just with 2 minutes to spare. And to be honest, the reason I was almost late was all this time I spent getting data ready for this trip around the world. I can just imagine saying it to the client, yeah, your training's not done because my Floof is planning an 80-day trip around the world. That's not going to fly.